Hey everybody, welcome back to Nerd News Today. I'm Matthew, and I don't know about you, but I'm a pretty big fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Really, I dare anybody who grew up in the 80s or early 90s to not be a fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because how could you not? And so from time to time on this YouTube channel, we take a look at brand new TMNT action figures, whether brand new means literally brand new or retro revivals. And in this case, we got something here that is pretty far-fetched and pretty out there in left field when it comes to TMNT merchandise. Today from Diamond Select, we're taking a look at their new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles D-Formz figures. And in particular, this is their SDCC 2023 exclusive box set. Now, if this is your first time hearing about D-Formz, let me tell you what those are. Typically, they've been blind box minifigures, and Diamond Select has done a few franchises about these so far, including some horror figures that we looked at a few years ago back on this YouTube channel, some Bruce Lee ones, and a few other things here and there. So our past experiences with them have been limited, but overall fairly positive, which gives me a lot of optimism when we're talking about something like TMNT, because with Ninja Turtles, you really gotta treat that franchise right, or else, well, it's just gonna look like hot garbage. So let's talk about what we got here today, and we'll also talk about this packaging a little bit here. So this is a SDCC 2023 exclusive that I just got. I'm a little bit late on it, but I finally got it here. And what this is a 4-pack of the Ninja Turtles together all in one spot. Typically, if you buy a D-Formz figure, they're gonna come like this. This is a typical blind box that you're gonna get with these figures, and you can see about the size that these things are gonna be. So in the case of this over here though, this is a 4-pack, and the items are also in some special packaging. So we're not gonna see them like this in this mystery box. We know exactly who we're getting because we're getting, like I said already, the 4 Ninja Turtles. Now what's missing from this set here is the fact that on this pack here, you'll see, typically if you get the blind boxes, you have a chance at not only getting those 4 turtles, but also Splinter and 2 versions of Shredder, one in red and one in blue. But like I said, we're not getting blind boxes today, so we're going to forget about that. We're going to just talk all about what's inside this guy right here. And the only other thing worth noting is that this set here is limited to 1,500 pieces. Now the D-Formz themselves, I don't think there's any limited edition of them if you get just the normal box, but this particular set with blister pack turtles, that is going to be one of 1,500. So let's go ahead now and open up this box and take a closer look at what we're getting with this TMNT D-Formz box set. Alright, so let's go ahead now and take a look at the packaging real quickly for this SDCC exclusive Ninja Turtles D-Formz. You guys already saw it, and there's really not much to see here. You've got a great big classic style TMNT logo right across the front on this really great looking sewer. There's some slime coming out of it as well. You guys can see there's a Nick logo on the top, there's a D-Formz logo on the bottom, and then of course Diamond has their logo as well. And the backside has really nothing to talk about at all. It's just very much blank space. The only thing that's really kind of worth mentioning is that it has the sticker over here that says it's one of 1,500, so there's only 1,500 of these out there in the wild. So that's the packaging. It's pretty cool. It's pretty compact. If you wanted to hold on to it for some other things, I wouldn't blame you, because I probably will be myself to put some other turtle things in here. But for now, let's go ahead, unbox these turtles, and take a closer look at them from all angles for real this time. Let's go. So now let's go ahead and unbox this thing for real, and let me show you guys my favorite ninja weapon, the box cutter. It might not be graceful, but it's certainly effective. And once you take care of that, this item is now ready to be opened, and you can see what's hiding inside, and that's going to be all 4 of our turtles, and each one, surprisingly, is individually blister packed. So yeah, you can see right here, every single one of these is coming in their own blister pack with a few slight differences on them, but not really too much. But yeah, they're surprisingly packed like this. I wasn't sure what I was expecting because, again, this is a blind box toy, so I just assumed they'd be in boxes or whatever, but no, it turns out they're on blisters, just like old-fashioned action figures. Now, the downside of that is that this is unfortunately extremely collector unfriendly. And that kind of makes sense because after all, these D-Formz are meant to be blind box toys and you're not going to keep the packaging. The purpose of these things is to open them up to see what you got inside. So yeah, in the case of these exclusive versions, they're all on blisters just like classic Playmates action figures. And once they're out of that blister, they're not going back in. So if you were hoping to make these things into collector's items loose, it's not going to happen, unfortunately. But that said, the packaging looks really great. Surprisingly, it actually kind of sort of connects too, thanks to like all the building landscapes that you're seeing there. It's actually kind of really fun that they did that. And they're fairly identical, I should add also. Really, the only thing different about them is going to be the name tag on each of these turtles. So, you know, there's not really much of a reason to keep this packaging, really, unless you really, really, really enjoy the way they look. And don't get me wrong, they do look very nice the way they are here, but toys like this are absolutely meant to be enjoyed out of the packaging. So let's go ahead and do an unboxing one more time and get to the actual meat of this video. Or maybe I should say turtle soup. So let's talk about the figures themselves now, and this is what's really cool about these. Now, this version here is meant to look like the Playmates action figures, or even a little bit like more the cartoon, but I think we're much more trying to be like the actual Playmates figures here. And the reason being is if you look at the colors of them, they're all painted up just like the Playmates toys would have been. And that means each one has their own unique shade of green, so no one is sharing colors here. Everybody's got their different types of green, just like the original toys. Everybody also has their full colored masks, unlike the normal D-Formz version, but we'll get into that a little bit later on. But yeah, I gotta tell you guys, as far as like minifigures goes, these are really nicely detailed and very, very well sculpted pieces. With a lot of American minifigures especially, and once again, I'm looking at you, Funko, for the most part, they're not the most exciting. Their sculpts aren't going to be the most amazing or spectacular, but Diamond Select always does a great job with their sculpting, and these D-Formz are no different. Every single turtle looks different and has their own personality to them. They've all got their signature weapons as well. Everything about them is different no matter which one you're looking at. I really like the faces and the facial expressions, although they're not mimicking the Playmates toys. Let's get that part straight here as well. None of these turtles are mimicking the faces of their toys. That might be pushing the copyright a little bit too far, and nobody wants to get sued by Playmates, but they do all still have different faces for the most part, or at least different enough. Michelangelo has an open mouth. Donatello has his sides of his teeth bared, kind of like the toy. And Raphael and Leonardo both have their teeth showing here, which is not an expression you would have seen on any of those original toys. Another fun thing, too, is I really enjoy all of their bandanas and how they're flapping in the wind, all kind of independent of each other. Again, different pieces, all unique depending on which turtle you're looking at. I really dig the shells. The musculature is very nice here. As far as like scale or proportion, I'm not even going to try and figure that one out. I want to say it's almost like a deluxe version of a hero scale if you're thinking like minifigures like Warhammer, for example. Basically, like they're essentially maybe 3 to 4 heads tall with a very, very large head. So yeah, if you know what scale that is, let me know. But again, these are minifigures and none of that really matters here. What does matter is, once again, great sculpting, amazing musculature on all these guys. The turtle shells, too. I mean, I can't say enough good things about those. But really the coolest part about them is how kind of self-contained these poses are and how dynamic the poses all are, too. Every one of the turtles has their weapons out and they're in action doing something with them. Whether it's Michelangelo chambering his nunchucks or Donatello using his bow staff about to whack somebody, which feels like to me it's coming right out of the video game. But they're all ready for action, battle posed, and very, very cool looking. I mean, these guys also, I got to tell you guys, look really wonderful once you line them all up together. And that's the true way to really pose these guys to begin with. You got to have them all one by one, side by side. The paint on these guys is very clean. I mean, maybe you're seeing some things in the photos that I didn't notice, but for the most part, painting on these is top notch. I'm not seeing any slop anywhere, no real mishaps with the brush or anything. And there's a decent variety of paint here, not a ton, but keep in mind these are smaller figures, and the amount of paint you're getting here is pretty solid. I will say, if you wanted to take things one step further, you could absolutely customize these and have a ton of fun doing that. I'd love to hit these guys up with an ink wash to add some more shade and tone to them, or even come in and do some edge highlighting to really make them pop, but that's why I think these guys are just ripe for painting more and customizing. The minifigures are great, but I also really enjoy the bases, and every single turtle has a base different from their brothers. They're all New York City streetscapes for the most part, although Michelangelo is standing right on top of a sewer, which is a really great touch here. But otherwise, the bases look really nice. This is the kind of thing, like, to me, if there was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle role-playing game, which there actually is, but, if I was playing with it, I'd want to have these guys as my mini pieces, because they just look great with those bases. Now, as I mentioned at the start of this video, there's also blind boxes of all these D-Formz, and I've got one here right now, and I wanted to open it up just to show you maybe what some of the other figures look like in here. So, as you already know, these are going to come with more turtles, which you can see here. We're getting all 4 turtles once again. What's different with the blind boxes is you've got a chance to get 2 versions of Shredder and Splinter. So let's go ahead and take a look right now and see who we've got. And as I mentioned here, the rarities are not that difficult. Turtles are all going to be 2 out of 12 chances to get, meaning that they're the most common ones, and less common is going to be the Shredders. They are limited to 1 of 12. And Splinter, much like the Turtles, he's also 2 of 12. So let's go ahead, open this up, and see if we've gotten one of the more rare figures here. And unlike the 4-pack that we're looking at that has everybody in the style of the cartoon, this is going to have everybody in the comic book style, all sharing red masks. So here is Michelangelo. This is our Mikey right here with the comic book style colors. And I'll bring in the one we just looked at earlier so you can see side by side. So again, the key difference is going to be the color of these guys. So the one here on my right is the one from the 4-pack, and it's done in the Playmates and cartoon colors. So He's got a deeper color of green, and of course Mikey has the orange, whereas this one here is comic book style, so mask is red, and the skin tones are going to all be identical, I believe, across all 4 turtles in the blind boxes. So here they are side by side, that's what you're going to get. So overall, the TMNT D-Formz are great. For my money, I think this is the way to get them. The blind boxes are cool because you got Shredder and you're going to get Splinter, but I don't really want the Mirage colors, and that's going to come down to your personal preference of what you want more. I know there's some folks who are very loyal to the Mirage comics and that classic look. I kind of prefer the cartoon action figures of the 80s, 90s, so that's what I'm going to be going after instead, and this is really the kind of thing that scratches my itch for that. And I do love a good blind box. We already know that if you've been a longtime viewer of this channel, but sometimes you kind of just want to get everybody in one spot, and this is really the ideal way to do it. Now, the good news is I believe these guys are still available out there. They're not super hard to find, so if you did want to get these, there are going to be some ways to do that. And speaking of, if you would like to order these for yourself, go ahead and check out my affiliate links in the description for this video below. There you're going to find a few different places to pick these figures up, and I really hope you use those links because it helps support this YouTube channel at no extra cost to you. So until next time, that's our shell-tacular look at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles D-Formz from Diamond Select. Whether you get this 4-pack based on their cartoon and action figure look, or you go for those blind boxes, I think you're not going to be disappointed either way. They're a lot of fun, great for displaying, and something different for your TMNT collection. I know they're pretty different compared to what I've got in mine, and I always appreciate a collection that has some diversity in the way its things are. So till next time, I'm Matthew. Thanks for watching. This has been Nerd News Today. We'll see you guys later, and until then, cowabunga.